KECH 22 TV, serving the Willamette Valley from the state capital.
Good afternoon. It's Wednesday, April 2nd. I'm Kathy Randall.
And I'm Don Clark. At 5 o'clock, here is the latest Valley News. Lebanon High School's policy on AIDS comes under fire from some students and at least one parent.
Live from the KECH TV Channel 22 studios in Salem, Oregon, the Valley's only local television newscast. This is the Valley News at 5.
The demonstrators say they want the school board to reverse its policy. They want any student who contracts AIDS to be kept out of school completely. Ken Niles reports.
The AIDS policy covers all Lebanon public schools and allows students with AIDS to remain in class whenever possible. The exceptions would be any students who lack control of their body secretions or displayed behavior such as biting. But these 20 or so Lebanon high school students feel that's not good enough to protect them from AIDS, and they don't want any students with AIDS allowed in class at all.
I don't feel AIDS victims should be in school because it's a threat to us, not knowing who they are. We've been informed we will not know.
I don't like this idea at all, totally at all. If they let anybody with AIDS come in here, it's risking us all.
The students, by skipping class to be on this picket line, are risking possible suspensions. Lebanon High School Principal Evan Ritchie says they'll be treated like any other students who skip class.
They could face a Saturday school assignment as an option to suspension from school, detention, or suspension from school.
Ritchie also defends the policy and says students with AIDS have rights that must be considered as well.
It is constitutionally fair to all concerned. Those people who may be diagnosed as having a highly infectious disease and those who may have to be around those people. It's fair to all sides.
Ritchie calls the protesters, who include at least one parent, uninformed about the facts of AIDS and how it is spread. No students currently in the Lebanon School District have AIDS. The policy was adopted to deal with any cases that may occur in the future. These students say they'll stay out of class until the school board changes its policy. But given the fact that the board passed the policy unanimously and that it's modeled on recommendations from the State Board of Health, Ritchie feels it's very unlikely there will be any changes made at all. Ken Niles, the Valley News, Lebanon.
Now, this afternoon, one of the organizers of that picketing phoned to say they would call off those demonstrations if the school board would allow an open forum on the issue at its April 18th meeting.
We talked with board member Vince Bishop. He told us there's no reason to change the policy and that he feels confident that the policy does protect the students. Well, Governor Atiyeh has come up with a policy he says will help keep Oregon schools running. But to get that plan to voters, supporters of Atiyeh's plan must first come up with over 80,000 petition signatures. The governor's plan is complicated. Basically, the governor wants to give all school districts a new tax base equal to the district's preceding year's operating levy.
It'll stabilize all our schools in Oregon and will control the growth of property taxes. I can tell you I feel very optimistic about its reception. As to whether or not time still remains to get all the signatures is still difficult to comprehend.
Atiyeh says his plan would help control the growth of property taxes as well as prevent school closures. You can expect to see those petitions circulating within the next 4 weeks.
Oregon's two Republican senators made a joint announcement today, and it should come as good news for low-income families that need some help cutting down on their fuel bills. Senators Hatfield and Packwood say Oregon will receive a grant of almost $2.5 million for home weatherization. The grant comes from the U.S. Energy Department. It's targeted for low-income families. The senators say the money will help people who might otherwise see their heating dollars escaping through leaking windows and uninsulated walls.
Well, there's no escaping the facts. A February survey of 6 major areas of business activity in Oregon indicates that our state economy is gaining strength. With 50 rating points representing an expanding economy, the combined average of the businesses surveyed hit 53%. All business sectors in the state hit their best levels in the last 6 months. The electronics sector of our economy paced that upturn. Activity in that area was at its highest level since May of 1984. The Purchasing Management Association of Oregon conducts this study. Their comparative data goes back to April of 1983. The state economy also got a boost from the motor vehicles industry last year. That industry provided 126,000 jobs in Oregon in 1985. Now that is 16.5% of the state's private non-agricultural employment and includes dealers, manufacturers, sales offices, and parts suppliers.
There is another big industry that provides a lot of jobs, but we all wish it would not. It is organized crime, and it costs Americans a lot of money. It costs a lot of money for the FBI just to investigate organized crime.
There is much more to organized crime than La Cosa Nostra. The President's Commission on Organized Crime concludes that motorcycle gangs, prison gangs, and a wide variety of ethnic gangs have now joined the mafia in the business of organized crime. And it is a business.
You know, organized crime indeed is a major industry in this country.
The report cites some massive figures. Organized crime takes in an estimated $106 billion. As an industry, it's as large as the steel, iron, and aluminum manufacturers combined. Organized crime adds to inflation. For instance, as much as 6% to a construction project by the time all the criminal elements are paid off. Organized crime takes away jobs. The report counts 414,000 jobs each year.
It costs every man, woman, and child $77 per year because of organized crime.
Organized crime is present throughout society, said the report, not only in drug trafficking, gambling, and prostitution, but in the legal profession and in nearly every American industry. With this report, the Commission goes out of business after a year and a half. But several of the members issued dissenting reports complaining that they didn't have enough time.
The President's Commission looking at organized crime and its costs has filed its final report.
It states the problem will continue to grow unless Americans get over the idea that organized crime is a necessary evil and does provide jobs, legal or not. Well, hardly a day goes by in Oregon that you don't hear something about the shortage of jobs. In this next story, Carol Jansen shows us a volunteer program the Salem police started to help fight money and people shortages.
Henry Fuqua retired from the phone company 3 years ago. He has plenty of spare time now, so a couple of days each week, Henry is a Salem Police Department volunteer. Henry is one of 39 volunteers doing odds and ends jobs for the police.
Well, because I like the police agency, what they're doing, and realize that they don't have enough paid staff to get everything done that they want done, and this way I can help the community.
Henry is compiling information from burglary reports. It is tedious and time-consuming work that Salem's police chief says probably wouldn't get done without volunteers.
If we had to do it, or if we were able to do it, we'd have to do it with paid people. And that's, of course, would take a lot of time and take it away from the other crime prevention activities and presentations we'd like them to do, or we wouldn't do it at all.
The program began a year and a half ago with 12 volunteers, and Henry was among the first.
Henry can grasp things very rapidly. He's interested in a lot of things, and he seems to enjoy it, and people enjoy working with him.
This is the quiet part of Henry's volunteer job. He also helps rob banks. That's all for police training purposes, of course. Carol Jansen, the Valley News, Salem.
And Carol says one of those mock bank robberies is scheduled for later this month, and she plans to get in on it. For a story, of course.
Union workers at the Cascade Steel Rolling Mill in McMinnville are still on the job today despite the company's rejection of a new contract. A company spokesperson says the plant rejected the offer because the two sides are, in his words, miles apart on the issue. The workers struck the plant in February, citing unfair labor practices, but they returned to work after the company threatened to replace them. The company says it told the union it would not sit down at the bargaining table until the union outlined what they don't like about their current contract. And still to come on the Valley News, the bombing of a TWA jet today in Athens triggers international concern.
The bomb ripped through the side of the aircraft, sucking several people out of the plane above Athens. A local Salem resident was on that flight. We'll talk with her family when the Valley News continues.
If you've been injured in an auto or on-the-job accident, Dr. Kent Wilson and staff emphasize the treatment of these injuries. Automobile and workers' compensation insurance cover 100% of the cost involved in physical and X-ray examination, special diagnostic testing like electronic thermography, treatment, and physical therapy. So for experienced, professional, and friendly care, make it the Wilson Chiropractic Clinic. There's no obligation for your initial consultation. Call today at 363-5445.
read it? All right.
Loneliness. You don't know what loneliness is till you get into bed with Lars. I could just get up and walk in there and get on in there.
It's Mary, weeknights at 6:30 on KECH 22.
An underground revolutionary group believed to be linked with Libya has claimed responsibility for the bombing aboard a trans-world jetliner over Greece this morning. One U.S. terrorism expert says he thinks it's likely. New information just in identifies all 4 victims as Americans. That is confirmed. One of the dead is a Colombian-born immigrant who lived in Stratford, Connecticut. A 52-year-old mother from Annapolis, Maryland, and her 25-year-old daughter and an 8-month-old granddaughter were all hurled 15,000 feet to their deaths. Relatives of Salem resident Jeanette Chaffee were holding their breath for over an hour this morning. The 36-year-old Salem businesswoman was on board that TWA flight this morning. Her sister and brother-in-law took Chaffee to the Salem airport yesterday morning. She is on a business trip to Greece. Chaffee's family didn't know if she was dead or alive until they saw her interviewed on television this morning, and later she called them to say that she was okay.
She was, it was one row behind her and at the opposite end, on the other side of the plane. She was on a window, and it was on the other side of the plane, a row behind her.
About 12 feet, she said?
Yeah,
12 to 15
about 12 to 15 feet away from her.
She must have been horrified.
She was asleep, I guess, and it happened instantly.
She was asleep, and it just, a huge explosion, and all the lights in the plane, you know, went out. The oxygen, you know, dropped down, and the compartments above with the carry-on, the doors came open and luggage was, you know, was coming out.
When Jeanette Chaffee called her family this morning, she told them she will continue her trip. Chaffee is scheduled to return to Salem in 8 days.
Oregon Senator Mark Hatfield was in Salem today, and he spoke with the Valley News about terrorist acts against Americans traveling abroad and about precautions to guard against them.
We can, I think, demand of the airports where our airplanes land and take off. We can demand the highest possible technology be installed to protect people. And if they're not willing to do that, whether it's in a friendly country or not, I think we ought to put that the highest priority of demand upon countries like Italy, upon Greece and other places which have failed to meet those high standards of technology that is available.
Stories we're following for you.
The on-again, off-again demonstration by students against the Lebanon School District's policy regarding AIDS may be off again.
I would say that I have a pretty decent chance.
Bruce teaches at Silverton High School. The job is demanding, but still he must make time to train.
I think after you've done it for so long, you just automatically make a certain time to train. For me, when I get off work, it's just built into my schedule that I'm going to have a workout then.
At age 28, Ross is probably nearing his peak as a runner. He recently moved from Montana to Oregon to improve his standing and to face the tougher competition.
Well, Oregon always has that mystique of having the distance runners over here. I'm sure every state, you know, is going to be able to send one person that's going to represent them well.
One problem for Bruce and other runners is that it is still early in the season. Some may not be in tip-top shape.
I know myself, I like to be ready more towards the middle or into the summer, just because I like to race more during the summer, so I'm generally not in racing shape this early.
But remember this, Ross still has 34 seconds over the best time of all the other entries, and that is indeed the bottom line.
And now for the women in this year's Super Run. We have 6 women with a time of under 40 minutes, and by far the fastest time belongs to Vicky Rojas of Tigard, and she has a chance to win the whole thing this year.
Vicky Rojas signed up for Salem Super Run just a week ago, and when she checked in, she became the lead woman racer. Her time, 34:55. Vicky's been training since November with the Super Run in the back of her mind, but she says she hasn't had time to do any special training for the race.
Normally, during the spring and through the fall, I would do some speed training or intervals once a week. I just started last week, because during the winter I ran every day, and I did some fartlek once a week, but I didn't do any speed training. So hopefully I'm starting to get back into it.
Vicki began running as a youngster and participated in track through junior high and high school. She also took part in the Portland Track Club. She gave up running when she went to college, but got back into it 2 years ago, and now Vicki says she runs for different reasons.
It's a whole different world out here, and it's exciting. I love it. I don't know, for some reason the pressure hasn't been there that it was during school, and it's more fun. It's completely different.
And is Vicki looking for a specific time in this race?
Of course, I would really like to win, and whatever time comes along with that, I would take. I've heard that it's a PR course, and I'm looking forward to running a real flat, fast course. But, I'd really like to go for the win.
Vicki Rojas, this year's lead woman runner.
Debbie, it's easy to focus on the leaders in this race, but that really isn't the purpose behind the Super Run.
No, we've selected 5 different runners to follow, and they're not the leaders. They're your friends and neighbors.
That's right, and they're all running for very different reasons.
33-year-old Carrie Rowlands does a lot of this so she can do some of this. I'll be following Carrie during the race.
This is Don Clark. The runner I'll be following for you all through this race holds records in all kinds of events. He is 74-year-old Bud Deacon, and you'll be meeting him as we go along.
Lee Briney doesn't expect to win the race or compete with the top finishers. She's running simply because she loves to. I'm Ken Niles, and I'll be following Lee's progress throughout the race.
14-year-old Stan Foster of Salem holds 2 national records in his age group. He also has 2 marathons under his belt. I'm reporter Carol Jansen, and in this Super Run, I'll be following Stan all the way to the finish line.
Watching Tia Angel play this game, you might think she's an ordinary 10-year-old, but she's checked into the Super Run with a time faster than last year's winning women's time. And I'm Dawn Marie Woodward. We'll be watching her throughout the race.
Oh, that Tia's a cutie. I have a feeling she could run right by me if I were out here.
She's definitely one of the best in the field.
Okay, tell you what, you can tell a lot of the people decided to skip the running part. Looks like they're taking a nice Sunday stroll instead.
The Mayor's Rockport Fitness Walk is not competitive, but it's still a great chance for those who don't want to run to be involved in the event.
That's right, and Salem Mayor Sue Harris is leading the way. The race is next, and we will have the start coming up right after this.
Our reputation rides with you, that's Mike Roberson's way. Putting people first shows that we care. Honest deals and trusted service has made us first today. So come on home to Roberson Motors, Roberson Chrysler Plymouth. Our reputation rides with you.
Roberson Motors, downtown Salem.
For the best in Cantonese cooking, visit Kwan's Cuisine. More than a great lounge, more than a gourmet restaurant. Kwan's is a full-service banquet facility serving up to 100. Enjoy barbecued duck, ginger crab, crisp chicken Cantonese style, imperial fried rice, or salmon in black bean sauce. Kwan's uses only filtered water and no MSG, but most of all, you'll enjoy the personalized service Kwan's has become famous for.
Here are some beautiful reasons to buy now from Central Oregon Mobile Homes. Central Oregon Mobile Homes, they take the worry out of buying. Select the custom floor plan and conveniences you want, and in 3 weeks begin enjoying a more comfortable, carefree lifestyle. Remember, interest rates may never be lower, so stop by today. Central Oregon Mobile Homes in Woodburn. We're Oregon's largest volume dealer because we give you the best deal.
And everything you need for every sport at Anderson Sporting Goods, with a tradition of serving Oregon families for generations. Clothing and equipment for all outdoor sports make it easy to find what you want and need. For running, water sports, baseball and golf, camping and fishing, everything for summer fun. Get the plus of value and the advice and information from experts only at Anderson's. Salem, Lancaster, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene.
All right, we're back for the start of Super Run 2, and here they go. It's a good start. What do you think about it so far?
Boy, it looks crowded up there. I'm sure it's going to get out a little bit, that those leaders are going to take the lead pretty soon, but it sure looks crowded now.
Some 721 runners taking off, and we were talking right at the start. There was a car parked right across the intersection of High Street, and that could affect some of the runners in back of the pack who couldn't see it.
Yeah, I think RG had mentioned that to him. It looks like most of them got around there without any problems. We got a clean start.
As they cross now Cottage Street, really a pretty quick pace right out of the blocks.
Yeah, and look how many people are still up there, too. I don't think we're going to see that the whole way through, but there's a crowd now.
It basically takes a while for everybody to get through, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And there's a lot of people get, excited at the start, and they want to be up there and be involved in it.
All right, a clean start in the race. You know, not everyone in today's Super Run is running for the love of fitness. Kathy Randall found at least one runner who runs for the love of food.
Running is kind of a love-hate relationship. You know, you love to look good, feel good, and eat what you want, but it hurts while you're doing it.
Hurt or no hurt, 33-year-old Carrie Rowland of Salem runs 25 miles a week, does about 10 races a year, and has even run 3 marathons. The reason Carrie puts herself through this demanding, often painful regimen is because she says it would hurt a lot more to be fat. Carrie runs a daily race against calories, and she says for her, running is the way to win.
It fits in as a complete balance to work and my home. It makes my life more complete. It's fun. It's enjoyable.
Enjoyable, but not as much fun as eating a good meal or cooking for her new husband, Jim. Part of the reason Carrie likes running is she says it suppresses her appetite, something Carrie has always needed a little help with.
I was born and raised on a farm, and that was Pig City all the time, and when I was in high school, I always weighed about 235 and 145. And then when I got out of school and started to work and sat behind a desk, I got up to 165.
That was 9 years ago, and that was when Carrie started running. Now she says she'll never stop. Her husband runs too, and they both say running helps them enjoy life to the fullest.
Welcome back to Catch 22's coverage of Super Run 86. And Debbie, now we've got a lead pack here of 5 runners, and they're blazing.
Yeah, they sure are. And I think that the ones, we really have 2 leaders, but the guys in the back are just really looking at those guys. I still think they're letting them do the work, and they look real relaxed, real in control.
The man we told you about, the race favorite, Bruce Ross, well, he is right there.
Yes, he is. And to me, he looks real relaxed, real in control.
He's in control. Also, David Montgomery in here, and Matt Cato, the number 2 man, and of course, he was second in qualifying right behind Bruce.
Afternoon, trying to settle on just what those cuts should be. By mid-afternoon, the other 6 elected county officials came forward once again today to block
this area. This will increase the night nut forest through computer simulation. This report was produced with the support of the
In the fall.
One of my favorite guys, Dave Ackerley.
All right, thanks, John. The boys of summer making their appearance today. Baseball's opening day action when we come back.
The weather has been brought to you by Commercial Banks.
What's in a name?
Well, basically, in today's business world, in order to be successful, you have to have a good bank behind you. And I chose the commercial bank basically because they're personal, they give me the service I need, and a personal touch that I can't find in a big bank. And today, that's very important.
At the commercial bank, you'll find that personal service makes all of the difference.
I would highly recommend them to anybody.
Yes, at the commercial bank.
We'll take the time to know your needs.
Nothing's worse than being lost in your own marriage. Every turn brings a new crisis, a dead end. Every day you feel more and more helpless. You're trapped, held back. Is it a lover, money, alcohol, sexual problems, boredom, or physical abuse? Divorce court. Sometimes it's the only way out.
Weekday mornings at 11:30 on Catch 22.
Dave Ackerley with us again for Valley Sports.
And we all know what a young man's fancy turns to in the spring. Baseball.
Well, yeah, sometimes, but you want to know what? A lot of people think New Year's starts January 1st, right? Do you celebrate New Year's on the 1st?
Right.
No, not the 31st.
The 31st, okay. No, not me. No, not me. Today. If you look around the valley, you'll see that all those trees that have been bare all winter, they're turning green. Life begins anew, and of course, what goes hand in hand with that better than baseball's opening day? 5 games on the slate this afternoon. The president tossing out the first ball in Baltimore. In Chicago, well, it was Super Bowl coach Mike Ditka of the Bears, and the real first pitch, well, it came in Detroit. Boston's Dewey Evans making the most of it. Boom, right there, taking Jack Morris all the way over the wall of Tiger Stadium. That's a great way to start the season. Now in Cincinnati, first time in his career that Pete Rose didn't play, but he made up for it by managing the Reds to a win over Philadelphia. Eric Davis with the 3-run home run here off Steve Carlton, giving baseball fans a real show on opening day.
Playing hooky from medical school.
Most of the office took off today.
We don't accept anything less than the pennant. The Bears have set the way, right?
We got a real good pitcher staff. I got good defense. I think we got good power hitter. I got good speed.
That is what every ball player says on opening day. This is when everybody is still equal. Well, not quite. Scores now. Tigers came back today to beat Boston 6-5. The Tribe down Baltimore, and Milwaukee topped the White Sox. National League now. Pete and the Reds win at 7-4, and Fernando Valenzuela struck out 9. The Dodgers beat San Diego 2-1. Now, a major announcement today involving the Seattle Mariners. No one has been traded, nothing of that nature, but I can't tell where you can tell you, that is, where you can catch all the excitement of Mariners baseball this year, right here on Catch 22. We are proud to announce exclusive rights in the state of Oregon to all televised Mariner road games in 1986, 28 in all, beginning April 24th. Now, first things first, the M's still waiting on their home opener tomorrow, and the big question this year, well, you guessed it, pitching.
The Mariners had no problem putting runs on the board last season. There was plenty of offense. The problem came in keeping opponents' runs off the board. Their pitching staff was riddled with injuries, and although they scored plenty of times, the Mariners won only 74 times.
I think we were lucky to win the games we did. We had guys with maybe a half year of A-ball experience, and it was really a makeshift pitching staff there for about 2 months.
You know, it's not a good feeling when you go out and the guys are scoring 6 or 7 runs and they're still not winning ball games because they're having to work hard, and you know, we're not putting the W's up on the board. So,
but every loss has a silver lining. Because they were so hard up last season, the Mariners called youngster Billy Swift up after serving only 2 months in the minor leagues. The experience he got could really pay off this year.
The experience, just knowing the hitters and having the confidence to pitch and not being nervous, you know, being out there in the big leagues, and hopefully that's going to help me to fight for that 5th position this year.
The Mariners are also looking at former Detroit Tiger Milt Wilcox, who had a bum elbow last season. Either Wilcox or Swift will get a starting position. And former Rookie of the Year Mark Langston is apparently fully recovered from his series of injuries a year ago. Last year there were so many injuries in the Mariner pitching staff that pitching coach Phil Regan may have thought about inserting himself into the lineup. But Regan says that's all behind him. All they want to think about is being healthy and winning this year.
I think with a healthy pitching staff last year, we would have been right in the hunt with the Kansas City Royals. I'm sure if you ask around the league and you ask some of the teams who to look out for, I'm sure will be mentioned.
I agree with that. More on the M's later tonight at 10. NBA now. Blazers have the evening off, still stinging a bit after Saturday's loss to the Utah Jazz. They'd better heal fast. Tomorrow's opponent, the Lakers, down in Los Angeles. Yesterday in Philadelphia, the Celtics' 14-game winning streak bit the dust. Typical Donnybrook, Danny Ainge picking fights with the wrong guys and put it up quickly. Well, Dr. J does just that, launching a 3-point bomb. The Sixers win a thriller, 95-94. And that'll do it for sports on this opening day. We'll be back to wrap up this edition of the Valley News right after this.
The sports has been brought to you by UCamp Rental Company of Salem.
You could be here in fresh air and pines, ready to enjoy the great outdoors. You could be close to warm desert sands, far from city cares, with all the amenities of home. UCamp can put you anywhere by the day, week, or month. The easy, economical RV rental way in a beautiful, spacious unit of your choice. For RV sales, rentals, or service, UCamp can put you anywhere. Well, almost anywhere.
You could call it a modern-day Noah's Ark with $1 million price tag. That's wonderful.
I know my dog's name, it still won't come.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's it for the Valley News. Thanks for being with us.
Hope to see you again tonight at 10.
It's Kawasaki's 20th anniversary bash with the all-new Ninja 1000R, the Streetwise ZL600, and revolutionary Concours. A sweepstakes with eye-popping prizes. Great deals on selected wheels, too. Late model KZ750s are as low as $15.95 while supplies last. Payment plan available. Easy financing, too. Ask about our special program for first-time credit buyers. Dash to the bash. Now at American Tire and Kawasaki in Salem.
Hi, honey. I'm stranded on Capitol Street. Could you please pick me up before you go to the office?
Hello, this is George. I had to move our appointment with Mr. Walker up to 3 p.m. Please
Hello,
meet us at...
this is Salem Hospital. Your daughter has just checked in. Her contractions are every 3 minutes and the doctor...
This is Sharon, your babysitter. The baby's crying and I can't find the formula. Could you please call
If
and
you
tell
don't have a pager from Pacific Paging, you just missed these messages. From $9 a month, Pacific Paging.
You're watching Catch 22 TV, serving the Willamette Valley from the state capitol.